Hello, it's now the beginning of May, and welcome to another one of my development diaries for my Mongoose Traveller implementation for Foundry Virtual Tabletop. I'm Samuel Penn, also known as Not a Snark, and this is just an overview of some of the recent features that I've been adding into the system. So, first of all, I'm going to take a look at journal entries. So we now have the ability to embed Spacecraft within a journal. So if we take a look at that, what we have is a simple macro in there, and what gets generated is a Mongoose style data sheet for that spacecraft. We go some way towards generating the costs and calculating what the costs are and monthly maintenance and things like that. That's not completely finished yet. There's a few gaps in it, but I'm working towards filling out those gaps as and when I can. So crew are we have a look at the Beowulf. Oh, you there? Why is because we're on that. Right, okay. I had journal notes on there. Yeah, oh, we've also got a standard design checkbox here, which will reduce the costs by 10%. And if we, what's my, yeah, basically this crew is read in from the list of crew roles in here. I think at the back end, what I was looking for there is at the back end, I've got a tick box to say whether it should go into the crew or not, or it's obviously not a tick box yet, it's just a Boolean flag on the object, and I haven't presented that at the front end, but yeah, it will be configurable, and there is also a back end thing to say how many of each of those there will be, so you'll be able to configure that. We've also added in a ship type. It's sort of hidden away under the notes section. My note sections tend to be a sort of general catch-all area for putting stuff. I'm not quite sure where it should be, so there's probably going to be a better place for that. But yeah, so that's showing the type of A2 hero class if that's set. Yeah, so cost calculations sort of working. And now what we can do, just try and show how things work. What am I looking for? Base axes. Yeah, I don't have any examples here. So if we go into here, I think if we do that, yeah, so that can be a name or it can be an ID. So if you've got something in the compendium or somewhere else, then you could put in the full ID of the actor. Well, it's the UUID of the actor in there, and it will find it and display it. Similar to Spacecraft, we've also got embedded journal entries for vehicles now, and that will display a vehicle stat block. As for Spacecraft, you could just mention the actor. If it's got spaces in the name, you can double quote that, or you can put in a UUID, and it will display stat blocks for the vehicle. Now we have a look at vehicles. They're a bit extended now by the request of someone. I've dumped in the full set of statistics. It doesn't do anything with this for the most part. It's just there so you can put the data in. It's not very pretty. I need to figure out how I want to display this. You've got the armor down there as well. You've got some basic drop downs. You've got the list of skills. Got the skills, and we now have the full list of chassis types from the vehicle book. This needs a lot of work. It's all very, very beta. There's no calculation going on at the back end. But the only thing it will track is you can add in crew members. Let's bring in Bobby tables. So yeah, you can add roles. Can you add roles? I don't know. We could have a look to see whether it's possible to add roles. Yep, you can drag in roles, and it uses the same implementation as Starships do. So you can add in the roles there and give roles to people. Weapons probably aren't working. You can add equipment in. You can add cargo in, and it even has docking bays and vehicle bays, so you can have vehicles embedded in vehicles. So if you've got an aircraft carrier, you can add aircraft to it, that sort of thing. Subtypes, not. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure I understand the vehicles book. So when I first read through it, it looked like there was a number of subtypes for each chassis type. But it may be that these are traits and you can have more than one of them. I really need to sit down and go through that book. But I'm probably going to wait until let's call it the 2025 edition of vehicles comes out, because that's probably going to change things. So I don't want to implement everything and then have to re-implement it. So vehicles are going to remain as a, yep, you can fill in the data, but it's not going to calculate anything. And some of that data may change later on as I come to better understand how vehicles work. And to be honest, vehicles will the full implementation of vehicles probably won't be part of the core rules. It will probably be an extended module which can be purchased. Yes, and we are, well, I say we, I am having conversations with Mongoose about that possibility. So we are working towards that, and once the first modules become available, then this will go out of beta and become a full version 1.0 product. But that's hopefully not too far in the future for the first starter pack. So and yes, a lot of the work I've been doing recently to do with macros and journals has been to help the implementation of the starter pack and to be able to display content in the main rules and get the main rules into the system. So one of the other things that's missing is, let's have a look. Do we have anything useful? Portable computer. Okay. So we've got some item types, let's say some just a general item type for now, has a option here to set an embedded computer. You can remove it, you can click it to add it in. And anything with a computer, the idea is you'll be able to add software to it and link software to an item. So you'll be able to say, yep, this computer has got software running on it, armor, weapons, etc. will also need to have the ability to embed computers and also embed software. So currently it's for informational purposes only. It's there. You can add it in. It doesn't do anything at the moment. It's the first part of implementing this. And there's a number of things where I'm adding in things so you can start recording information, but it doesn't actually have back-end implementation support yet. but it's there so it can be recorded, and you can sort of manually sort of see, yep, okay, this has got a computer, this is what I'm, and sort of work through it manually without having everything fully automated. Right, so what else have we been working on? So what we've done, so it doesn't work for that. So let's log out of that. Let's log in as player 2. Not sure whether I've got any examples that can show this off, but okay. So in Foundry, under user configuration, you can set your default character type. So we'll default set this as Alice, and what this now means is we now actually make use of this. So if you've got say skills in the hotbar and you don't have a token selected, if you click that, what it will do is it will make use of that player's default character. Now, Game Master can't have default characters. And a player can only have one default character. Obviously, it's a default. But it makes it slightly easier to click on abilities and make skill checks. And we actually now stick the name of the character up here in that dialogue. Here we go. We make a skill check. So, and we can drag a few skills down here, and yep. If I've got Bobby selected, it's Bobby that will make the roll. If I don't, then it's Alice that will make the roll. And that's true for starter pack items. Okay, I'm just seeing to see macro test. Okay, if we go to tests, yep, again, if you have these, then it will roll them for your default character. And if you've got the request options, which I've described previously, you click on those, it will use your default character. If you've got someone else selected, it will use those. So the idea is to make things a bit easier. I don't know whether I've spoken about this before, but there are now further journal macro options for adding items to people. So if we select Bobby Finance, she's got a miss 60 credits. So click that, Bobby will gain 5,000 credits. We click that, it will put information in here to say what's happened, and it will provide pension and medical debt and that sort of thing. This is all useful during character generation, and this is what it's there for. You can have skills for, if we click on flyer 1, it will give you an option. What do you want to take a skill in? So we've got a wing skill of 0 there, and it actually tells us what our current skill is. Click on that. It will give you a skill of 1. If there's no number selected, then it will come up with undefined. And I'm not quite sure why that's come up with undefined, but you can add items. I don't have a permission to execute that one. Yeah. There's also options to, oh, she does have psi, amazingly. So if we roll that, will this work? Yep, her size skill goes down to 6 because you can now, via the macros for skill checks, you can set up a cost on skill checks. So you can say this skill check costs does attribute damage basically, and so you can have psionics checks within the rules which will reduce your abilities. So again, this is going towards making implementation and documentation easier for the main rules. Okay, this is just a quick insert of me from the future. I realize I didn't explain how to do some of these macros. So for those who are interested, if you want to put a characteristic cost on a skill check, you specify the characteristic as normal as for making skill checks and just put in a cost of what that cost was. If the skill succeeds, it will deduct that cost from the characteristic. If it fails, it will deduct 1 from the characteristic. So if cost is 1 or more, it will deduct a cost. Rec means split. I think I have discussed this before, but rec means something comes up in the chat and asks a player to make a roll. If you turn it into, if you make it skill, you don't have the question mark there, and it will, if you're GM and you don't have a character token selected, it will automatically turn it into a skill request. If you're a player or you're the GM with the character selected, then it will automatically make the skill test against that character. It doesn't currently show the cost on here. That's something that needs to be done. For adding cash, you just use the cash command and you can set what the cash value is, or pension or medical debt. You can also put in a text value to say what happens there. There's a damage macro. Something I've also done in this release is you can put in a scale in here for to make that spacecraft scale. If you want to do damage to spacecraft. Yeah, I think others. Contacts, yeah, you use the associate command and you set the type. You can set a name, you can also set a description. You can also set, is it quantity or number? Let's have a look. It might be number. Yep. Okay. You can add in a set number or a random number of the things to that. You can also do that with items if you're adding an item. Right. What else do we have? I've spoken previously. I think I'm going to log out of this is player 2. Log back in as game master. Let's have a look. We have worlds. I mentioned this before. They're probably going to go out in the next release. So I've tidied things up a little bit. So you can now drop in actors to probably has skills. Oh, probably no, not 33. So drop in that. Yep, it will set their skill, and then when you click speculate, it will use their skill, and it also you can also set the local broker skill. So it will work out speculative trade prices. It can also work out freight prices. You drag in a world, and it will work out what the freight to that world is. It doesn't do currently. It doesn't work out the distance to that world, which it needs to do. This is all a work in progress, but I'll probably add worlds in, as I said, into the next release. So you've got some data in there. We look at the data types. We've now also got a world data type. Test, because this very much is a test. It's all messenger. You can add. So the idea is you'll be able to add stars and planets and other details to a world data, different factions as well, and also passengers, and you'll be able to add passengers to spacecraft, etc. So none of that's implemented. I've just got the basic underlying data types there as placeholders for when that gets done. Okay, let's take a look at character generation. So logged in here as a non-GM user. I'm actually player 2, and I've got player 1 character there. Let's switch that one to trained only, and let's have a look at character generation. So we need some background skills. Let's take some background skills. These skills automatically appear in the character sheet. Then we can go to our career. He's got decent int and age. Let's, for the sake of argument, just to keep things nice and simple, let's make him a scholar. Click on field researcher. If we go to his history, we've now got field researcher there. All this does is create an item which can be used for recording information beyond the basic text. It doesn't add in future things. So under the Explorer Edition rules, basically you will get all these service skills. Then we want to roll for survival, so we can make a survival check. Here we go, and notice it's doing this for player 1. We succeed, so we can make a events check. That comes up at 12. You're automatically promoted. So that's something you would add into here to say promoted to rank 1. Does that give us anything? It gives us science 1. No, field researcher, it gives us science 1. We can choose, let's choose genetics. We could record that in there if we wanted to, but we can see we've got science 1 genetics. We can try and make, no, we automatically promoted, so we don't need to make another promotion check. Next term, add another field researcher in. Let's roll on that. We get science again. had genetics before. Let's go for biology. Make a survival check. We survive. Roll on events. 8. What's 8? Right, so let's make a diplomat check. Notice it's rolling it without a characteristic. Oh, and we failed, and it's come up and it's told us that we gain an enemy and lose a benefit roll. So we can click on that, gain an enemy. We look in our history, we've now got an enemy in here with a description on it, and we can click on here to see what the random powers and influence, etc., are of this enemy, and we can add in any details we want to. So, and notice it's also worked out what year we were born, what our age is going into the campaign, and you can keep on doing this. If we wanted to, we could muster out now. We could roll on there. 4, we get SOC +1. So there we go, SOC +1. I mean, we could have taken the cash instead. But I showed you that before. That will add in cash. We have all the life events. There's also things for, so we could, if we got a weapon, we could maybe pick up a blade, and that would add a blade into our character. So it's not so much automating things, it's trying to streamline the process. So to do the actual updating the character sheet bits for you, you still have to roll the dice and make the choices yourself. It doesn't add details into these items, so it's up to the player to record what they've done in each term, but for the most part the information is put into the chat, so you can see what happened and you can go back and update things. Yeah, we've also got equipment lists in here, and if we want finance. Let's say we did take some money as well. You can see that you can, when you buy items, it will reduce the amount of money you have. Let's buy some software. Oh no, you don't have enough money to spend that, but it will add that into there. But if the GM wanted to give it to you, you can just drag it in on there. There's not much in the way of enforcement here. I mean, it's no different to a player just dragging something into their sheet from the compendium. So if they want to bypass everything, they can, but that's a problem between the players and the GM to make sure people are doing the right things. But it tries to streamline the process to try and make it a bit easier in terms of just going through the equipment lists, clicking on things, and obviously these all items are in the compendium as well. So we've got all the data in there, but this isn't part of the core system. It will be a add-on module, which hopefully will be completed soon, but working on finding bugs, fixing things, streamlining things, and basically trying to improve the process of how character generation is done, and also how running adventures and things like that is done as well. And yeah, you've got a simple landing page which will allow you to click on things and go straight into where the rules are. And yeah, that will open up Traveller Map. What will that do? Yeah, that'll take you to Traveller Map and some useful links like that. But hopefully that's all coming soon. The core rules, hopefully I'm planning to get out a release today. I think broke too much in the demo, so maybe it's all working. So it's safe to release, and that will be 12.1 that will be going out the door. So yeah, that's hopefully a simple introduction to what I've been working on. And yeah, thank you for listening, and until next time.